Hey everybody out there, this is Tino Krebins coming at you again with finally a pop filter on my headset. I know. Anyway, so let's just jump right into the story because it's super awesome and I love this. So Wolfenstein 2 is being kept single player because these words, I love these words because they don't want to shoehorn multiplayer in because it would ruin the whole concept of the game, and I love that. And take it, you AAA industry. Wolfenstein 2 doesn't give a shit, and I love it. Oh, it's so good. Stick it, like straight up sticking it to the man, okay? By just keeping their you know their platform single player, their new IP. They're keeping it single player, and they're like, no, we don't want to take anything away from the story. We want to just focus on the story, make it good. Like cite see sources, God of War before Ascension, and although Ascension was good, it was kind of strange. That's a video for a different day. Didn't hate the game, but when I heard that God of War Ascension had multiplayer, I was like, really? Did it need it? I don't think it needed it. It's kind of a waste. I don't think the game suffered because of it, but I just was like, why? And another, an in-between one there is The Last of Us, because it was good. The multiplayer in The Last of Us was good, but the story didn't suffer at all. But it's one of those things where the game was good enough on its own. I've never heard someone talk about The Last of Us when they're like, "Oh man, that multiplayer match or that game that we had as a group." No, everyone talks about the story and about the upcoming release of The Last of Us 2. People are freaking out about that. Nobody cares about the new maps and multiplayer or whatever. Um, so why? I mean, okay, so you want to keep your game running, you want to keep it alive, but they also pump out DLC for single player. Anyway, so that's why it's the in between. And then you have games like the rest of the God of War series, or in this case, Wolfenstein 2, that are totally standing their ground and standing up to this kind of environment where it doesn't matter, the almighty dollar rules, this kind of corporate AAA industry, and they're like, no, no, we're not. Well, no, no. We're gonna do our own thing. And if you don't like it, tough, because a lot more people are talking about our game. We know what the people want, and we're not gonna be doom about it and have this craptastic multiplayer that nobody cares about. I bet even some of you, okay, I bet even some of you right now listening to me saying that are like, ha, Doom doesn't have multiplayer. Doom has multiplayer. I just want to let that sink in real quick. Doom has multiplayer. Again, another game that doesn't. So a step forward more to the left of The Last of Us towards the first point I made is that the story was not affected, the gameplay was not affected in Doom, but nobody either cares or hates um, the Doom multiplayer. As far as I know, nobody. I never, I never see on Twitch. Oh, this Doom multiplayer tournament, and it's like the spotlight. Dude, I've seen Age of Empires tournaments featured on the front page of Twitch. Okay, if Doom multiplayer matches cannot get featured on the front page of Twitch, then it's pretty much dead. I don't mean to carve rip into the tombstone yet, but I mean. I don't. I've never heard anybody say anything nice about Doom multiplayer. I know that people were hyped for it when it came out because people were like, "Oh man, remember the '90s?" And they were feeding off the nostalgia, but they dropped that ball like it was filled with lead. So, so that's another example. But I'm totally 100% on it. The first two Mass Effect games were fantastic because they were story driven. They were very well sculpted and whatnot, and they didn't have multiplayer shoehorned in. Now the first Mass Effect wasn't part of that era. Mass Effect 2 was at the very beginning of that era, and Mass Effect 3 got multiplayer, and although I did enjoy it, I enjoyed it because I'm a hardcore Mass Effect fan. I enjoyed the multiplayer, but it didn't stick with me because I don't play Mass Effect for the multiplayer. It's not Call of Duty, it's not Battlefield. It's Mass Effect. You buy it for the story. You buy it for I turn on the game and I'm like, come on, Shepard, ask me about the Reapers. I don't care about. I don't want my teammate to ask me about the Reapers. I want Shepard to ask me about the Reapers, and then I'll tell him about the Reapers, and then we'll kick those Reapers' asses. But I'm not going to do it in multiplayer because What's the point? And I'm not saying that multiplayer games are bad. I just don't like when it's shoehorned. Like the catalyst to all of this was Tomb Raider. Remember when Tomb Raider shoehorned in the multiplayer and people were like, "Giant, who cares?" Like, okay, nobody cares about this. They raised their arms in confusion and frustration, and nobody played it, to be honest. And they gave out all these DLC packs, and that's how you can tell when a game is truly floundering. When they release more DLC weapon packs than Call of Duty, you know you done fucked up. So, that being said, I love what they're doing with Wolfenstein 2. I cannot wait to pick it up. It's going to be awesome. The game looks fantastic, and I have even more reason to support it financially, as well as make videos on it praising the developers. They're doing great things with the game. The ads are good. The ads look super spiffy, squeaky clean, and all the voice acting sounds great. I love that they have the guns in the center of your view again. I think that's a really neat callback. I don't like it when games go way too far to have over-the-top callbacks. Like a good example of my first point is like when Doom had the original Doom stages with the 2016 character models, and they had the exact layouts from the old game. I thought that was so neat. It was so like, and you had to go out of your way. They didn't make you go through the game and be like, guys, remember when we did this, guys? Come on, guys. And they didn't make you pay for it. They just kind of put it in off to the side. I thought that was such a nice touch. They did such a good job with that. So something like that where they just kept it in the center. They're like, look, this is Wolfenstein. This is how we've always known Wolfenstein. I think it's a nice touch. And I will agree. I will 100% agree with them, because this is a trend that I hope stays around, where game developers are like, no, we want to keep our game's integrity. We want to keep our IP's integrity where it is. Like, we're not going to kowtow to the AAA industry, because effectively what it's doing is it is killing off games. It's killing off people's interest in games, because they know that people are shilling out to corporate people like that. And corporate's doing their job, and I've said it in many videos. I'm not defending them. I'm just saying that, that's where they're coming from. That's their perspective on this. They're just there to make money. So they're trying every single focus test thing to throw it in there to make money. You got to buy battle packs. You got to buy Cryptarch things, and you got to buy all this stupid shit to make sure that these whales cough up their wallets. Thanks, Activision. Not just Activision, EA too, but Activision more so, which I never thought I would be saying in a video, but here we are. It's the end of 2017. Let's have a fucking party. I've been Tino Krebins, and I'll see you in the next story.